I am Aurora Rising and here with Cosmic Jelly, and I'm super excited to be here and see what Spirit leads us to today.
Hi, my name's Jess, and I'm one of the co-hosts of Cosmic Jelly, and we're here today to bring you everything you need and a little bit of what you want.
Honestly, to me, so growing up, I was always taught, that humility and being humble is basically not talking about yourself and not like being
Exactly.
confident. However, over the
Boastful.
last year,
Don't be boastful.
yeah, over the
Mhm.
last year, what I've actually understood through my own relationship with God and my own, like um just my relationship with God is that, like, do you realize that when you diminish yourself, you're diminishing me? And I'm like, ouch. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so like that's kind of where I've gone, and that's like, I try really hard to like make sure that it's like understood that, like, I don't think so full of like so much of myself that I'm better than anyone, or that like I'm more than anyone, because I don't at all. However, I know who I am through, like that which is within me. And when it comes to that, like, I'm not going to limit myself anymore, and I'm not going to, try to shy or like, yeah, like just dim my
I
light.
just really want to do a big wolf howl on that. Like, oh, because like it's so good. Like it's just so luscious. And it's a place that I feel like the majority of the population has never got to lean into, because it's part of, and I don't know if it's necessarily like the atomic nuclear 50s family type paradigm, or it's the Christian paradigm. No offense to my Christians, just saying. Um, I'm not sure like which one it is, but it's definitely there. It's definitely present. You can't, you can't say good things about yourself or they'll be taken away from you, or, you shouldn't be prideful. Like, pride is one of the seven deadly sins, and it's going to make your neighbor feel bad if you are proud of what you have. And like, I just got to be the first one to say that, like, that's all bullshit. I feel
Yeah,
like that was something that was designed, and I'm not trying to go too far on the conspiracy theory here. Like, we could have designed it ourselves as something for us to overcome. Like, it's something that keeps us trapped in a lower level frequency of life, and it always
100%.
till you stand up and say, hey, I'm not being selfish, I just really love myself. Even that, is radical in like where I come from and like the way I was raised, to be like, I fucking love myself, I'm really great. Negative.
Yeah, no.
Negative. Like, not, no. Mm-mm.
So I keep you version on my phone. I may not be quote unquote a Christian, but I still read the Bible. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
for
it's
sure.
still a huge part of me. And there's like this person that often, I guess I'm friends with them because I think that I would only see notes if I'm friends with you. I have no idea who this person is, but every so often he puts notes in here and it is publicized. And sometimes I have to speak up on it. And this past week, he he I wonder if I can find it. He was talking about self-love and like basically bashing it and bashing those people um that are talking about self-love. And and I get the difference between like the new age aspect of of self-love and like not referring to or understanding that where we are and the way that we get to things. Yes, like God is 100% a part of that. Like, we wouldn't have the successes that we do without God. You know what I mean? Like it's not, I mean,
Right.
well, without a certain God, there's always the dark side that people can play with too. You know, either way, there's still higher forces that are behind it. But anyways, this dude was talking about self-love and like totally bringing it like to a self-worship and a self-idolization type of situation. And I told him, or I had to go and like, yeah, uh it's like I think you're misunderstanding and misinterpreting it when people talk about self-love, because and he was like talking about how he thinks that it's just an excuse for people to not love others.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, right? And I was like, I do not think that that is what it is at all. In fact, I'm one of those people that are huge on teaching self-love and, you know, like spreading that message, because the thing is that, you know, the only way that we can love ourselves is one, if we pull ourselves away from everyone else and we allow ourselves to sit in that space with one ourselves, but also our God. When we actually get to see ourselves through the eyes of our God, that's when we can start loving ourselves. That's when we can, you know, and it also depends
Well,
on who our God is,
on that
because
tip,
they're
it's like, how else are you gonna love unconditionally? You know,
right.
like
You can't love anyone unconditionally if you don't know how to love yourself.
loving
But they're
yourself is an act of unconditional love. So if you want to experience love the way God loves you and loves us, then you have to love yourself first to be
right. And
to even
like
know what
this
that
guy's like
means.
totally bashing what what the whole meaning of self-love is right now. And I was like, no, you cannot love another person without loving yourself. Otherwise, all you're doing is projecting a whole bunch of other stuff that has come at you. Like, you know, like before I was, you know, went through all my healing, like somebody could look at me wrong and I'd freak out on them, not knowing that like they literally just squinted because the sun was in their eyes. They weren't even looking at me, where they were looking past me. Like you literally just spewed all of this projective stuff onto somebody that didn't even look at you. You know what I mean? Like, and
Right,
that's just an
right.
example. And that's because of the stuff that I had inside of me and the ways that I viewed myself. That wasn't love of myself. That was disgust of myself. That was hate of myself. And instead
Right.
of, you know, like understanding that no, this person wasn't even looking at me, instead projected it all over them. What the fuck are you looking at? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because when you
Instead
don't
of,
understand that those little triggers are things about you that need to heal, you know, like the way that you think other people are perceiving you, then yeah, that's a big problem. It can be a big problem. And it is definitely like, yeah, pretty much no, I've been there. Like
yeah,
no concept of even loving yourself. Like it doesn't even occur to you that that's an
yeah.
option, you know, like meanwhile, like it's the best option, you know, but it doesn't even occur to you when you're in that state.
Uh, okay. So actually, we could talk about the um signs and synchronicities, because that's been kind of showing up a bunch this week, and it's kind
Do
of funny.
tell. What signs and
Okay.
synchronicities? Are we talking numbers? We're talking birds? We're talking the car radio talking to you?
Oh, good. So you get it in multiple
Yeah,
ways too.
yeah,
It's not
yeah.
just one way. It's like
All the ways.
so
My favorite that kind of really blows my mind is when I'm thinking about something with spirit. I'm like, spirit, what about this? Da, 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 da. And then like the person I'm having a conversation with in the material says something that literally answers my question.
well, yeah, didn't that just happen yesterday? Like
Yeah. Wait,
you
are you talking
said
about?
something to me and I was like, oh, weird, because I literally just did this, or I'm doing this right. I don't know. That's how it's been like all this past week. I will start doing something, or I'll already have like orchestrated something together, and then someone will reach out and they'll start talking to me about exactly what I did. And it was funny because so every time that this happens, um to me, I feel it's like just a reminder and like just like a kind of like this little quick nudge of like letting me know that one, I'm not alone. And two, of how connected and how like how much we are just one. Because so there's something that I like to do, and it might be silly, but whatever. Okay, you know Sirius, the star?
Yes.
Okay, so my favorite star. I will often call it the Aurora star because
Okay.
it like sparkles in rainbows, okay? And I'm obsessed with it. So anyways, anytime I leave somebody and I'm, like somebody that just loves me or just like whatever, I'll tell them like just look for Sirius. As soon as you see that star, you know that I'm with you because I am. Like I never leave your side no matter what. Even if I'm not physically there, I'm always with you. So you know that, like one of my friends, Kedron, like she'll often say that like when she's in some sort of a situation, she'll say the whole WWJD thing, but instead of Jesus, she'll say what would Jelena do? It's my birth name. And so yeah, she would often talk about how that's where she would go, is like thinking like, well, what would I do if I were her in this situation? You know what I mean? And so it reminds me of the fact that every time that I tell someone that, like, literally look for this thing and like that will show you that I'm with you. So when any of these situations happen, it reminds me that like it that there is no such thing as separation whatsoever. And that clearly whatever is going on in my brain is connected to someone. You know what I mean? Like that I'm not making these things up in my head, that it is 100% true. And then, like, it's almost like God just kind of drops this in on me, just like, here, I just wanted to give you kind of an ego boost or a confidence builder that, like, no, you're not crazy. So that's
That's
what
like
I love
my
it.
main question always is like, why? Why? Like why? I mean, I get it. Like I I I am appreciative of for the communication, right? But a lot of times my brain works on overdrive. So a lot of times like two, 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 okay, I'm on their path. Okay. Da, 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 and I'm like looking up the meaning and I'm like figuring out what I was doing when I saw it. And like I let myself take a lot of the joy out of it just because I just want to understand, and I think the understanding like best comes through a a meeting of Buddhist and quantum theory, right? So the best way I can think to explain it is we are all one. Like you were just saying, there's, no separation between any of us, even if we don't see that. We're all connected through spirit. So there's that part of it. And then there's the part where it's like spirit is talking to us through each other, right? And there's this thing in Gene Keys core core fractals. Anyway, it's a certain group of people that a particular spirit will communicate through. Not spirit as in like, oh, I'm the spirit of the doo doo doo. No, just like spirit, period, source, right? And this
Right.
particular aspect of source comes through this particular group of people. So it's always been like really curious for me because I'm the type of person, not a lot of people do this, I think, or like have this type of communication. I see angel numbers at least 3 to 4 times a day. At
Oh,
least three to four
I was
times a
gonna
day.
say at least 3 to 4 times.
Sometimes more. So when you see them that frequently, you're like, am I doing something wrong? Like what? It can be really frustrating. And then I don't know. Part of me is like, oh, it's just like breadcrumbs that like you're on the right path. And
Hmm.
then when they don't happen for a while, there'll be like little periods of time, like a week or two, where I'll feel isolated from spirit, you know, and I won't have angel numbers and like I won't have these song coincidences or conversation coincidences or things like that. And I'm like, where are you guys? I miss you. Could you
Yeah.
could you send me some more numbers through the phone, please? Like, things like
You're
that.
like,
It's
"Well, we
so
stopped because
strange.
you were giving yourself a hard time because you didn't understand."
Right,
Yeah.
right. So it's like,
No, I totally get
we cause all the problems for ourselves always,
Oh yeah. 100%.
But yeah, it's
No,
annoying.
the numbers is crazy because like
And do
that
you
is
know the what I forgot what the statistic is, but there's only like a 7% chance. The chance, like the odds, the ratio, the odds, the literal math, the literal chance that you will see 111, 222, 333, 444 is 7%. So when I
that's
think about
really low, and I see that shit
exactly,
all day long.
exactly,
And
exactly,
it's funny too because I giggle every time that I see it. I'm just like, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
right.
Um, my biggest one though is picking up my phone. I always end up picking my phone up at 44 on the hour. And to me, like, yeah, at first I used to kind of question it, like thinking,
I used
shit,
to
I'm
say the
doing
same thing,
something
like my
wrong.
reptilian brain has this memorized. Like there's like my internal clock, I used to think that for a long time. Like it's just my internal clock, like timing it. Like it's not, it's fine. Yeah.
Right. Um, yeah, I used to that meme that would go around that was it's like someone going crazy and like the spirit guides are trying to get your attention, so they're throwing all this shit at you. I used to think of that picture like every time that I would see it, literally 44 on the hour every hour. And then I go to like the one that's really funny is so my microwave and my coffee pot, like they both have a clock on them, and
Yeah.
I never set them, but when I finally do decide to set them, I'll go and they'll always be at different times, which is weird because I set them for the correct time, but they end up like losing a minute here or there. And so I'll go and do something, and sure enough, it's always at like 22 or 44 or 33. And then the microwave will not be at that. But then the next time that I go in there, the microwave will be on that number. So it's like constant, yeah, like just constant in every clock in every space, like the numbers will start showing up. And then the license plates are insane
And
because
honestly,
the
how I feel
license
about
plates
it,
aren't just numbers, they're also words. Like I think, I don't know if it was on here or if it was the interview that I did for Sexy Sunday, but when I had realized that um like basically my twin flame and I were like merging, and like our energies were becoming one. I had asked, so am I not going to get like your signs anymore? Am I not going to get your little like love notes that you leave me places? Because like, I would get like random, like there'd be a leaf that was in the shape of a heart or something left on my fucking station at work. Like weird shit like that would happen all the time. And so yeah, like I asked, am I not going to get those signs anymore? Like, are you not going to send me love letters anymore? Because we're like, now that like I know that we're just kind of merged into one another. And immediately after that, a truck pulled up in front of me that the license plate said one life. And I'm like, okay, all right, cool,
that
thank
happened to
you.
me
Like,
yesterday, not yesterday, day before yesterday on the interstate. I was kind of having a rough day at work and I couldn't hold my preference. I kept getting dragged down by a lot of bullshit. But in the middle of that, I saw 888 and I was like, oh,
oh,
nice. And I was on my way home and I'm like trying to work through it and I'm in traffic on the interstate. And I was like, that was cool. I saw 888 today. And then in the lane next to me, a car like pulls up right there and it's 888 on the license plate.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah. But I really think what it is like from that quantum point of view is the breaking down. My head just cut off. The breaking down of that timeline. Like the timeline that's no longer serving us starts to break down. And I feel like there are like little glitches in that matrix, so to speak, that are
Right.
coming to us. Number one, to show us, you can call them angel numbers and all that. That's fine. Like you're on the right path, or like also like, hey, keep going. What you're doing is working,
Yes,
right? And
absolutely.
I feel a lot of times in my overthinking, I get really confused about that, but I think like that the takeaway is just like what you're doing is working. And that's period. That's the message. Like what you're doing isn't exacting a change on the world around you.
Right.
Your will and your
Yeah.
alignment is causing the material in the form of digital binary code, which is the easiest thing to change. It's causing a realignment of that.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, and it's kind of like mile markers too, like letting you know that you're still, just a quick reminder. Hey, just wanted you to know that you're on your way and, you're
Right.
still on the right road. You're continuously, you are progressing, you are going the right direction. And
Yeah, when I
yeah.
first started noticing them, it was because I deal at the restaurant, I would deal with so many transactions every day. And it was right before COVID started, and I was taking lots of delivery orders with addresses. So it started being the addresses, right? It started being like 1113 or, things like that. And then their total would be like 4888 and things like that. So what I did when I started noticing them, I was just like, thank you, and had like a moment of gratitude for them. And then
Mhm.
I looked up, I was like, okay, we gotta get on the same page. So I looked up I found it on Pinterest or whatever, and it was just one that resonated with me, like this, 222 means this, and 333 means this, and 444 means this. So what I did was I took screenshots of them and I had them in my phone. And every time I would see a number, I would go back to that reference and I would be like, oh, okay, this is what you're trying to say. Thanks. And then probably like a year and a half ago, when I got really deep into shadow work and the dark side and like doing all of that, like that part of myself, bringing that part of myself to the light. That's when they just started just like popping off like crazy. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I see you, Bill. Like, give me a minute. But yeah.
So, angel numbers, like I think that there's there's so many people that will talk about angel numbers being just the master numbers. But so I would get messages, and this has been happening for like the last like 6 years. I get messages through all kinds of numbers. Um, I will constantly see the master numbers as a regular guide for me, letting me know that everything is
Oh,
safe,
you
that
mean
I'm
they don't the
protected.
master numbers like 111222333?
Yeah,
But you mean like when
but
you just see a jibbly juck of numbers and you know intuitively what that means? Is that what you mean?
no, I won't know intuitively. I'll just know that, oh shit, I need to find out what that number is. What does that number mean? And there's a specific website that actually has messages for angel numbers all the way up until like I think 3 or 4,000, something like that. Um, but
Oh, so
it's
it's just like
Joanne.
in numerical order, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like all the way up to like 3,000.
Yeah. Um,
So the way my brain works with it is like the sum of those numbers. Say you may look up like 3,244. My brain is going to be like 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. That's 4. And then go
One,
with the meaning
so
of 4.
my brain will go into that direction as well. Like, okay, so intuitively, I will know, like, okay, no, I need to focus on the fact that this is number 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it will give me that, but there's often times that like I'll be driving, or I'll even just like be watching a movie. Like this is when it first started happening, is in movies. Like I would see a certain number that I saw earlier that day, like it'd be the apartment number for somebody on the movie, right? And it would be the same exact number. It was like 72, just a random weird number that you would never ever ever like really equate to something special. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
I would see it this day. It would be something that was important that day, and then I'd go like watch a movie, and that's the same number as the apartment number that this person is on, and then later on I'll see that number again. Well, instantly that tells me, because usually things always happen in threes for me, if it's something that like spirit is trying to get a hold of me for. And so yeah, this third one, that's confirmation that, all right, you need to figure out what I'm trying to tell you. So there's a website called Joanne Sacred Scribes, I think.
Joanne Sacred Scribes. Let's check it out.
um okay, it's Sacred Scribes Angel Numbers dot
I'm
com
on
or
it.
dot blogspot. Here, why don't I
I'm
just
on
send it
it.
to you?
I got it. I'm on it.
You got it?
Okay,
Okay.
wow.
And
So it
yeah, like
has,
literally goes all the way up to 3,460. But
so let's just for funsies, it's 338 right now.
yeah, find out what the message of 338 means. And you would, I am not even joking, like how every single time this happens, and this isn't something that happens on a daily basis. This is literally like, okay, spirit is trying to let me know something, or I'll be like, having some sort of internal turmoil that like, beating myself up about this or that. And then that day, as whatever trial I'm going through, I'll start seeing a specific number, and then I'll be led basically, you need to go look up what it means. And
Well,
I
just
shit
so
you not.
everybody's aware, angel number 338 is an auspicious message about positive abundance and prosperity. The angels and ascended masters are helping you be open and receptive to the flow of infinite universal abundance. Whoop, whoop. We love that for
Mm-hmm.
us. Yeah, that's awesome.
But and yeah, and it gives you like a huge long description of like everything that is inside of it. And it's crazy how often like that message is 100% relative to whatever it is that I was going through.
Well, yeah, like I mentioned, it's binary code. And I feel that not necessarily like the license plates or the billboards and things like that, but numbers on our phone, numbers on microwaves, numbers on anything digital. We are frequency, source is a frequency, material things are a frequency, and electronics are a frequency. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're all the same thing. It's all a frequency. So I
Yeah.
feel like those are the easiest to manipulate and the easiest to like poke in and say, hey,
Oh yeah,
fun.
absolutely.
you know?
No, I love spirit when it taps into, well, not taps in, it sometimes will 100% take over my like Spotify or my
Oh,
Amazon
yeah.
Music, like
Oh, yeah.
music that I'm listening to.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go put it on like my soundtrack, which is only music that I downloaded, right? And
Mm-hmm.
instead of playing the music that I've downloaded, it just completely gets hijacked and starts playing all this other stuff that, for one, I don't know, two, I don't listen to, and three, not something that I would normally pick. But it's
Yeah, but
like,
that's really the same thing. It's an algorithm. So it's all controlled by binary code. Like it's
what?
it's all it's an algorithm. Like, especially like Spotify, Pandora, even our Apple Music and downloads, our YouTube, all of that's an algorithm. So if you pick a certain thing or you look up a certain type of music, it's a little nudge. And the computer remembers that, right? The
Yeah,
computer
no,
thinks
that's what
this.
I'm saying though, is that spirit will hijack
Yeah, but
my
that's what I'm saying
data.
is that it's
Shit.
binary code too. So it's very feasible to accept that in the material world, spirit can communicate with us, is what I'm saying, right? Because anything computational is a binary code, even the algorithms they use. So when we experience things in the algorithm, like you're talking about, where it's like not something we would normally pick or something like that, it's literally, yeah, it's literally spirit hijacking your
Mhm.
junk and being like, hey, listen to this. I used to call it hacking myself because I was big with the higher self. I mean, because I honestly see, I'm not saying I'm God. People get that shit twisted, and here we are back to self-love and all that stuff, like self-love being demonized. But
Yourself is God.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I used to, when I first started, when I first got into this like 8 years ago, I'd be like, oh my God, future me did that for me. Or, like I would, for some reason, like 2 days, I would just be, before I'd be going somewhere, I'd randomly pack a bag, just be randomly shoving stuff in a bag and be like, what the fuck am I doing? And just set that bag down on a chair in my bedroom. And then I remember going somewhere, I'd randomly pack a bag, just be randomly shoving stuff in a bag and be like, what the fuck am I doing? And just set that bag down on a chair in my bedroom. And then I remember this day explicitly because my partner was like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And I was like, man, just give me a second. And I picked up this bag, and it was a bag I had just thrown some stuff in randomly 2 days ago. And it was literally everything I needed to go where we were going. And I was like, okay, I
Yeah.
hacked myself. I hacked myself. But the thing is, and I feel like we should also mention this too, is when you're not aware of it, when you're not open to it, when you don't realize what's going on, and spirit just drops in and taps your ass on the shoulder like that with the numbers and the songs and the this and the that, it can be quite terrifying. It can be very terrifying. And spiritual psychosis is real. It is real, and people are demonized for it every single day. It makes me so like I'm so fortunate that when I went through my shit, my family all wanted to like lock me away. They were like, she's lost it. I was like, no, I really haven't. I'm just not repeating back to you the same things you told me all my life. That's literally all that's happening. Um, but I didn't have to be hospitalized or anything like that. But when you think about the number of people in the Western world that are hospitalized and demonized and like stigmatized for the rest of their life because they have a connection, it's really, really scary. And I think that kind of taps into the witch wound as well. It's not just being a witch and living this certain way and like bringing random bones and sticks in your guilty. Um,
I mean,
it's speaking your truth about what you are connected to and what you feel, you know? And I feel that there's so many people. You can look in any mental hospital, any homeless camp, because like a lot of people I feel that are homeless or addicted to drugs, I feel that that is just a means of coping with something bigger that they can't grasp. And
are you an
usually
addict?
something bigger, huh?
Are you an addict?
Um, no, I don't identify as that.
I think that's perfect because I am an addict. And that is exactly what I have said from the very beginning. Like, we have something slightly different than those without addictions have. And there is this different connection that we have with spirit. And because they're like, the way that my brain tries to filter everything, like it doesn't work that way. But if I were to get high, it stops everything. So then I can actually just be this one channel that I can filter everything through. And obviously, not the healthy way.
Yeah.
I because I am an because I don't have self-control. I don't have, I'm an extremely impulsive person, and that has to do with my own mental disorders of ADHD and all that stuff. So,
But I feel
uh,
like here's the thing, the self-control is the issue because if you say, okay, so I am preferential to the frequency of freedom, to
yeah,
being able to express myself freely and love freely and move freely without being concerned what anyone else is thinking about me. And the way I
yes.
do that best is on Xanax or Adderall or a couple drinks and some Coke or anything, anything. Literally, I don't have a drug of choice. What's my drug of choice? Freedom. That's what my drug of choice is because that's what I prefer. That's the frequency I was seeking all those years. But when you say like self-control, yes, okay, technically we do need to have self-control because you can't run around just doing whatever you want all the time and like being loaded just so you can experience freedom. Okay, that's not correct. That's not
That's
like
my problem.
right.
Is that I have one and I'm like, ooh, I want another one. Ooh, I want another one. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. And
So,
then
so that's what I'm saying is the reason it's a problem is that we shouldn't have to alter our state to be free. And I think that's true liberation is learning how to alter your state from within and how to come into alignment with what you truly are and what you truly value and what you really bring to this world with or without substances. It really doesn't matter because like you can get to from point A to point B in an electric car, or you can get from point A to point B in a car that needs gas or one that needs diesel, or they even make cars that run off fryer oil. Like who knows, Like it doesn't matter. What matters is you got from point A to point B. You
yeah,
liberated yourself. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I feel like that's something that a lot of people need to hear because there's so much shame around it. Like I let my
Oh,
family think I
absolutely.
was just messed up on drugs because it was easier for me than telling them like, no, I'm literally been reborn. Okay, you guys? Like I like, you know, I, I couldn't even begin to express to them. Like, I have a conscious connection to universal source energy now. And I
Yeah.
don't know what to tell you about it because this is just how I am now. Like it, so I was like, okay, guess what? You guys can just believe that I'm on drugs. That's fine. That's fine. I don't
Oh
care.
yeah.
It kept me from being institutionalized. And that's straight up the truth. So thanks, mom.
Mhm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I see, because I live in Denver and we have a huge homeless population.
Oh
And
yeah.
you see the homeless population every day, everywhere you go. And I mean, I feel them. I can feel who's tapped into source. And who's tapped into source is not the people working in the stores I go in. It's not the people I pass in Walmart. It's not the people that come in my restaurant to eat. Who's tapped into source is the guy yelling to the sky on the corner in 3 day clothes and no shoes. That's the
Yeah.
guy. You
Well,
know?
yeah, because I mean, you have to be broken in order to
Yeah.
find, like, there's so many distractions, and I mean, and it was obviously, created to be that way. Um, but so I have this theory,
What is it?
and let me know how you like what you think
Okay.
about the
Okay.
theory. Um, so as we all know, Christ consciousness, like that is what has been kind of like coming into the world over the last, few years. Well, I mean for forever, but it's like, there's supposed to be this big drop of Christ consciousness. To me, that's the second coming. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but with
I
that,
resonate with
that
that.
leaves it to, and if you read the Bible, like it will tell you multiple times that Christ is in us. And I think that that awakening is, Christ consciousness, like truly accepting ourselves as the Christ that we are.
I also
And
believe there's some physiology involved with the pineal gland.
so,
The Christ
so do I.
consciousness is awakening. Okay, okay. Just had to throw that in there while we're on that part. Okay.
Yeah. When you read the Bible and you talk about the Bible and how all these things Jesus had to go through, and because if he didn't go through those things, people wouldn't really understand how he's this big magical character, obviously not magical, but because that's a big bad word for Christians.
Yeah.
God is not magic. Yes, he is. The world is magic. Everything is magic. So fuck off. But no, so Christ had to go through all of these different things in order to
Normalized
basically
magic.
show people, huh?
I said normalized magic. I'm sorry. It was my autism
Yes,
popped
please.
off. I couldn't help it.
So, but what's happening now is as Christ consciousness is, is coming into the world, and these awakenings are happening, and the Christs are waking up. Um, what you're starting to see is that these people, they didn't grow up in like a world that had everything, the incredibly loving parents, the perfect school, the like perfect amount of money their entire life, and they basically just had a perfect life. You don't see them as those people. Like those people are obviously there, and there's some of them that are really good and amazing people, but that's not what you're seeing as far as like what's waking up and really bringing in this movement of love. No, it's the people that have been in jail for 20 years because they murdered somebody. It's these people that have been raped and that have been on drugs most of their life. It's these people that, have been to the darkest of dark places, but not only just like been in those places, they were those things. You know what I mean? Like they weren't just in the darkness, but they themselves were the darkness. And now, they have gone through this awakening, they've gone through this rebirth, and, now to become this person that's not even close to what they used to be. But that's where, like, yeah. So when it comes to the second coming, like you're seeing it as these people that have literally gone through all of these things that you would never think that you could ever come back from.
But
And
hey, can we add
but
here
people
also
were
that in the Bible, remember, Jesus didn't hang out with like fancy folks. Jesus hung out with the same type of people who are bringing
he
along
hung out
the
with
second
us,
coming. Exactly.
out with us.
Jesus was my
And that's
homeboy in
the
another
thing,
life.
is that we are now the ones that get to bring him back. You know what I mean? Like we are the ones that are like, okay, like here's the thing, we understand who Jesus was because he's the one, he was with us, he wasn't hanging out in your fucking fancy ass
He wasn't at the
mansion
country club,
being
babe.
fed, the most brilliant feasts of all. Because I'm gonna ask you right now, would you really actually invite that person? Because from what I'm seeing, no, you wouldn't. Because look at, yeah, look at Denver and how many, for the first time I saw somebody in a wheelchair holding a sign here. I live in a teeny ass town, and it's like highly foreboding to sit on a corner
Panhandle.
and ask for money. Like you are not allowed to panhandle here. Like
Yeah.
we live in a ritzy ass fucking town that no, they instead of like doing something and creating some sort of like rehab facility for
Just
transients,
criminalize them. It's
they
fine.
built a fucking 4-way stop with like brand new fancy fucking sidewalks that we did not need. You know what I mean? That was like $3.8 billion. They
No,
would
what breaks my
rather
heart is when
money.
they build the benches with the things in the middle so they can't lay down. Like, you've been homeless, I've been homeless. Do you know
Yeah,
how horribly excruciating it is to look? Just thinking about this, I gotta hold my tip. Horribly excruciating it is to not be able to lay down, to not be able to actually rest, to
yeah,
not be able to take off your shoes, to not be able to feel that comfort, you know?
yeah,
But with that, I feel that there's this pendulum swing, right? Like we were pulled so far back over here to let us know how amazing it's going to be, feel how amazing it's going to feel on the other side of that. But